We are recording. Excellent. Hello and welcome to Tales of Athanasia. We're here. We're playing D&D. That's all you need to know. Where we last left off, you guys had reconvened back at the island, and after a ferocious battle between our rogue and wizard and some dinosaurs, you guys gained entrance into Huatli's cave, where at the bottom you were confronted with a logic problem of sorts. And through a series of really amazing rolls, you guys had the clues you needed to successfully identify. Out of 3 guesses, you got it in one. The transmogrified divination stone. So Yara has earned the stone. She currently has it in her hand. The shape of the stone spirit takes the form of a quattle. So you all have the ability to speak to our divination stone friend. And if I remember correctly, I put her actual name in chat. I told you the wrong one last time. The divination stone's name is Golug. So there you go. You are still in the cave. All of the remainder of the treasure basically has transmogrified back into so much basically stone rubble. And you are free to do what you will.
Can we get out of here, please?
So wait, I'm sorry, I was looking at something. Did you say all the treasure disappeared?
It reverted into its original form, which was piles of rubble.
Of course it did.
Which might also be precious treasure to you, Rocky.
It's true.
Still, it's still precious to me.
Taste.
I'll start leading the way back up the stairs, since I was there anyway.
Make a win.
Well, I believe we have acquired what we came here to get.
Do you guys have a marching order for me?
Me first.
Okay.
And
I'll go behind.
I'll go ahead and use a glow on... I'll pick up another rock and put a glow on it, and just so we have light. Whoever needs it.
What were you saying, Ronnie?
I'll go behind Hera.
Okay. Rocky,
I'll just bring up the middle, I guess.
Yara in the back.
Yes, I'll take one last gander at the now barren, rubble-filled room as I exit.
We'll assume that Bran and Jareth are somewhere between Rocky and Yara. So as you guys march...
I just disappeared out of the room. Where'd they go?
So you guys march up. Your glowing rock again sort of starts to evaporate plasma as it goes with the glow that you've placed on it. The light spreads out in front of you. Again, the cavern seems to sort of like meander in a natural way from one side to the other in terms of width as well. The walls themselves appear to be very, sort of naturally formed. The staircase, however, is more hewn, and you can tell as you walk that the stairs are intended to sort of rise up and sort of close themselves off. And as you march along, Yara, what is your passive perception?
Let me pull up my PDF because my printer's not working. So I don't have a physical copy right now. 11.
Okay.
Although I should point out that I do have the alertness feat.
Oh, what does the alertness feat do for you?
Let me find it. Why is it not written down here? I thought I had it written down. I know I have it, but it's just the...
I think it adds plus something to your initiative, and you can't be surprised.
I wrote it down, but I forgot to write down what it does. But I think that's the gist of it. I have a +4 to initiative, and then it's like... Let me look up. I don't know if it's you cannot be surprised or you're just hard to surprise. Where is my PHB? Gotta be kidding me. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Was it alert? I didn't find alertness.
Alert. Yeah.
Okay. You're always on the lookout for danger. You can't be surprised while you're unconscious. Other creatures don't gain advantage on attack rolls against you as a result of being unseen, and you gain a +5 to initiative. Okay.
Is it
Yep,
+5
that's-
or +4?
+5 apparently.
Oh, it's 5. I must have wrote that wrong down too.
So there you go. That's what you get for checking the rules as written. All right. So as you guys are marching along, you do start to hear distantly behind you the sound of grinding stone. And you do feel the rumble in the staircase that you're currently walking.
Rocky, chew with your mouth closed.
Oh hell, we pissed the tiger cave off.
Must go faster.
It doesn't seem like anything particularly like it's advancing on you at all. You just hear it occurring in the background behind you. It does seem to be matching your speed, however. So the further up the staircase you go, the more it closes off.
I think now that the cave's purpose has been fulfilled, it's probably closing back up to its original form.
Great.
Just as well, we should probably get out of here as quickly as we can.
I'll walk faster.
Double
You
time.
As you guys move faster, you discover that the sound, the grinding sound following you matches you. So it seems as if it's sensing that you're leaving and it's closing behind you at the same speed.
What if I walk backwards?
What if you walk backwards? That's an interesting. Do you want to try it? You want to walk backwards?
No.
Okay. You emerge into this spacious cavern with a column in the center. Again, all the walls and the column itself are all natural rock. As you do, of course, the staircase stops. And as you emerge, all of you, into this area, you, at this point, now hear the rumbling following behind you and sort of speeding up a little bit. So it seems that only several seconds after you've all exited the staircase itself into this round chamber, the final staircase has lifted up and closed off the way down. However, as you guys are walking toward the other side of this chamber, Yara, something strikes you as curious. What you didn't notice before, because your passive perception wasn't high enough, you now notice that as you get closer to this central column, there's this glow that begins to radiate from the stone. And as you get closer, it begins to sort of start tracing lines and patterns into the stone, much the same way that your arcane holograms work in the key.
No, just happen to have a similar colored die.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now there are patterns and stuff emerging.
Mm-hmm. They're sort of a blue, a vibrant blue.
In this cave or on the stone?
On the stone pillar that you're passing by on your way. It seems the closer you get, the more is revealed.
I will take a look at the newly emerged glyphs.
Okay, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
I'm not continuing to not roll great. I think that's only going to be 13. Yep.
Okay. You get close enough, you're able to kind of experiment a little bit, and what you do recognize is that the shapes are directly reacting to the proximity to the divination stone. So the closer you get, not only the brighter the lines become, but the more there are, and the brighter the stone glows itself.
Alright, so I'll tell my other members of the group here. The stone appears to be revealing new glyphs that we were not able to see before. Give me a moment to see if they have any information of importance.
Stop.
I guess I'll move around and see if I can reveal more of these. Do they stay once they've been revealed, or do they go away as I walk away?
Yeah, so you kind of approach the pillar a little more closely, and you see that again it spreads out, and the lines closest to the divination stone intensify. And then as you move around this naturally carved stone column, you notice that the it's kind of like a glow in the dark material. You know how when you expose it to a strong light and then you turn the lights off, it does slowly fade, but slowly enough that you can tell that it's there and that it's just sort of losing charge, basically.
Okay.
So you can still see, you can still understand, like you can still distinguish between the lines and the stone around it, but it does seem to fade slowly over time.
Does my steady skill apply to skill checks? That's an ability that I forgot that I had.
Steady skill?
Yeah.
Is that a Spheres of Power thing?
I believe so.
Okay, so this is Prodigy. I want to
I should
say...
just bookmark this class.
Steady skill. Beginning 11th level, whenever you make an ability check, and skills count as ability checks, and you roll a 7 or lower, you can treat the roll as if it had been an 8. Yeah.
So I guess then my roll would have actually been a little bit higher. I just realized that as I was going over my sheet.
Sure.
It would have been an 18 then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with an 18, as you're getting close to this pillar, you recognize that the lines not only are decorative, they're highly stylized. They are, sort of loops and circles, swirls, interlacing knots and things like that. But as you sort of back up after sort of running the stone in front of the column in like a sort of a revealing kind of motion, you back up a little bit and you realize that all of these decorative elements are actually highly stylized pictograms. This appears to be a story being told with pictures.
Oh no, it's more prophecy. Let's get out of here. Well, I don't have this language, obviously.
Well, it's not technically a language.
Yeah, but I don't have any way of translating the pictograms.
So essentially what it comes down to is it's like hieroglyphics. Like you could study them and using like an insight roll, for example, decipher what it is that they're trying to say.
How long would it take me to do that?
Well, it would take a couple of minutes to reveal everything, but you could definitely go back and take a look at it, and several more minutes of inspection would probably give you a pretty good idea. I'll say the more would be revealed, the longer you took.
Does anyone have some paper we could just write down the symbols? And
it sounds like there's quite a few, so I don't know if we'd have.
I mean, I could, but whatever I write down would go back to the monastery, and maybe they can help if you guys want to try that. But it might be a waste of paper otherwise.
I have just regular parchment. If you want to try.
Or we could just sit here and try and work it out.
Is the cave still crumbling around us, or did it stop since we stopped?
No, you get the impression that the rumbling you heard behind you were the steps rising back up and closing off the passage.
Do I still have
a circular room?
Do I still have that recording device that Mekon had? I don't know.
You everything of Mekon's except for the Ball of string.
Oh man, it's been a while since I had used that, but I think that can record stuff. So that might be better than trying to write everything down.
What was the item?
Oh man, you're gonna make me like go. All I know, it was that thing that we recorded like a conversation, and we were able to like replay memories and stuff with it. It was some sort of like weird ass. I don't remember where we got it at, but do you remember kind of what I'm talking about?
It's probably from one of the vending machines.
No, this wasn't from the vending machine. This was from something else, but I can't remember where we picked it up at.
I want to say, like, wasn't it the Mind Stone? Because the idea of you recording something and then playing back a memory, like that's probably like you tapping into somebody's memory and then broadcasting it like an arcane hologram.
It wasn't the Mind Stone because I had this, and we used it to replay something at the council before we went to the desert to get the Mind Stone.
Was it perhaps Mekon's like replicated notebook? Oh, there was a blue stone.
Yeah.
That allowed you to put into holographic form the content of your notebook. That was the thing. Okay, and then that stone actually, I want to point out, actually worked the same way with the council as the paper did with the librarian. So whatever goes into that stone gets sent to the council.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
so you're welcome to do that.
I don't see any problem with that. This might be pertinent information to the prophecy. It's one of the hubs that we found, one of the resting locations of one of the stones. So I'll use that rather than eating up a whole bunch of time here to reveal the pictograms and then hopefully decipher them later.
Okay. And I'll say, strictly because it was a magical thing, is probably one of the only reasons it survived the unfortunate disintegration.
Yeah.
So yes, you probably still have that. Okay. I don't think Yara has used this device before. Would she know what it does? Because I don't think she has talked very much to the others about Mekon's stuff. Tell you what, roll an Arcana check.
19.
Okay. We'll say over the several days it took you guys to get here to the open ocean, you've had some time to look over the stuff that was left behind with Mekon, and you were able to determine the function of this thing. You're fairly easily able to adapt it into a sort of arcane mechanism that allows you to use it. It probably would not. You wouldn't be able to record stuff the same way that Mekon did. You would have had to come up with your own method for that. So how would Yara use this recording device? What would she attach it to? How would it work?
I think it's something I could attach that to. I don't really have anything to attach it to. I don't think I can socket that into Mekon's old staff. That's really the only item.
You could theoretically find a way to integrate it into your grimoire.
Do I really want to be broadcasting everything in my grimoire to every member on the council, though?
I guess that's up to you.
Probably not.
So I'll say this. You are welcome to use the recording device. You tell me where you record the information.
Yeah, if I don't know. I guess nowhere, because I don't have any item that's going to physically be able to store all this stuff. So if I can't just store it in the stone or in my own mind temporarily, I've really got nowhere to
Can we
put
store it somewhere
that.
in the key?
I don't know. We probably could.
So the concept of the recording device is it sort of needs somewhere to receive the information. Do you have anything that could receive the information you're trying to restore? You're trying to record.
Not unless the divining stone can receive information like that.
That's an option.
Well, I'll just ask first instead of jamming that information to the stone.
Okay.
So, gulag or gulag, is that how you pronounce it? Golug. I have some interesting pictograms here that I think might be important for our mission. Is it all right if I use this stone to transfer those into the stone?
The response comes back. I can only see these things while they are presented on the walls. They are the result of my presence near the stone of these caverns. If I were to take them in now, I would forget them as soon as I left. It's something else, some other receptacle for information.
Well, Ronnie said she had parchment. Could it just like photocopy it onto the parchment?
So, I mean, so Yara, as you think about this, your 19 on your Arcana check allows you to sort of think this through and realize, like, you're aware how this is DM to players, like a pinhole camera works. The idea of letting the light pass through a very narrow field allows it to be reversed on the opposite side. You're thinking if you can set something like that up, where you have parchment to record and the stone in the middle to sort of focus the information, you could probably collect it.
Well, I'll do that then.
All right, sounds good. So someone will need to assist you with the parchment while you operate the stone.
I already have it, so I'll just hold it.
Okay. So we'll say, go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Yara, go ahead and do an Arcana check. And Ronnie, I'd like you to do, well, it's a straight dexterity check. You're trying to sort of match Yara's movements.
I rolled much better for a 28.
Nice.
21.
Okay. So through deft coordination, and we'll say about 4 minutes, you're able to skirt around the outside of the column, dragging the divination stone near the column surface to light up the information, using the blue stone, which I'll call it the arcane recorder because that seems the easiest way to refer to it. Sort of holding the arcane recorder steady as you circle, kind of like taking one of those panoramic pictures with your phone. You try to keep it level, and then Ronnie deftly is able to match you and continue sort of unraveling her scroll as it goes to make sure that you have something to have the image land on. And what you find after those several minutes of work is that all of the information that you were able to reveal using the divination stone has now occupied in what seems to be almost like an indigo, iridescent indigo ink on this parchment. So you have, near as you can tell, an exact copy of the pictograms from the column. Another thing that happens that's interesting, Yara, is you notice there is, as you quickly make this route around the outer column, all of the pictograms you notice are not losing the internal light that they're shining with. Instead, now you notice that there are lines that go down the column to where it intersects the floor, and then every now and then, in regular intervals, these lines now trace a short distance outward in sort of radiating and diminishing lines toward the outer wall.
Interesting. But I think we've stayed here long enough.
Okay.
Do we get out of the cave, or are we just?
Sure. Yeah. If there's nothing else you guys want to do here, you're welcome to take off. So, you guys continue up the staircase. You're able to discover that Finney has expertly kept the door closed with an invisible wall. He lowers it for you, climbs back on top of Brand, and exit. You hear again as you're leaving the telltale sound of rumbling as the stairs rise and cut off entrance into the cave. And as all of you exit, Yara being the last of the staircases, the last of the stairs rises and seamlessly shuts off the Watley's cave from the outside world. You guys emerge onto the island, and you see now that where it was raining when you arrived and foggy, and then sort of sunny as soon as the maelstrom left, now it appears to just sort of be lightly kind of wisping with a low fog, not coming up from beneath, but sort of as if the clouds has sort of descended a little bit. It's quite humid. But you see the maelstrom still docked at the island next to the quay, and you see, the crew running around and operating the boat. And right now, you see that the first mate has had a table pulled up onto the helm area, the bridge, and she and several other crew members staring down at things on the table and conversing. How would you like to proceed?
It just occurred to me that we did have that missing weatherstone that maybe the new stone can tell us about.
Perhaps that was my first thought. Now that we have the divining stone, that might give us an edge in determining the remaining stones' locations. I suppose I'll get to work and see if I can communicate with the stone again.
Okay.
And hope that there's not a cost for this information that I'm going to request. Okay. Seems a little too good to be true that we now finally have the divination stone in our grasp. As I say to the narrator.
Yeah. What do you ask? What do you ask?
We have some stones whose locations are missing. Are you able to sense where your brother and sister stones are lying now?
Which do you wish to discover?
The stone is asking me which we are after. Should we pursue the weather stone, or?
Well, we know for a fact that that's the one that was close to us before it just got snatched somewhere. It could still be the closest thing.
I suppose we can start there and see where it gets us. We seek the weather stone.
So as you impress into the consciousness within the divination stone that you wish to find the location of the weather stone, all of you watch as Yara sort of furrows her brow a little bit,
Ah!
deeper and deeper and deeper into the divination stone, evidently becoming entranced by something she sees within, and then suddenly gripping it tightly as if her hand were locked to it with some form of arcane electricity. You suddenly see her body spread in all directions. Her eyes go shock white. Her body begins to levitate into the air, and her clothes and hair begin to float as if suspended in water, cast in sort of a pale glow on the sand. You see the similar sort of refracting, warbling light patterns that you saw on the interior of the maelstrom, where it seems like coming from in some underwater cavern. And Yara, you begin saying aloud the same words that the folks on the maelstrom heard.
Turn it off!
your consciousness is not present.
Yeah, no, I'm just like repeating.
So all of you are watching as Yara is now uttering the exact same words that you remember hearing from out of the mouth of Astra. It says, specifically because you asked about the Weatherstone, it says, another bee at Pirates Bay where chanted by the sealkins lay, the living camp where sand meets brook, but haunted by the dead man's hook. And then, of course, she falls to the ground. The eruption of water comes out of nowhere and covers the sand. Her eyes, of course, revert to their usual color, and she regains the ability to move her own body. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw, please, yeah.
Trying to make a new character, Chad.
Yeah, no joke. Not great. 9.
Okay. You got a headache. It's bad. You gain a level of exhaustion.
Oh.
Can you put that into chat, Jay?
Yes. It was in last time. I hope you guys are able to take note of it. Okay. So that's what you hear Yara say. Actually, would you like me to just put the whole thing into the messenger chat?
Sure.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing a history in here.
Yeah, Google Meet doesn't have history, but I can put it here into the.
I've got it on my own file on mine, but yeah, putting it in the chat would be handy.
I put the whole prophecy you heard from the maelstrom into the messenger chat. So, but she only said the one about the Pirates Bay.
Would I know where pirates might hang out?
Where be the pirates? Yarr.
Let's call that a history check.
Where's the closest hive of scum and villainy?
20. Nope. 18.
Okay. You scour your memory. You know that there are pirates that roam the Siren Sea, as they do most seas. You don't recall anywhere specific being named Pirates Bay, and you don't know of any specific locations where the pirates like explicitly hang out. They tend to roam. So it doesn't sound like that part of the prophecy corresponds to a named location or what you would expect to be a commonly used location. Which is what the history check would have represented.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Well, we could go ask the Maelstrom people where pirates hang out.
We could, but it didn't seem like they were really from around here, so I don't know how much they would know.
Where's what was the name of the person on the island?
So Watley was the guardian with the dinosaurs.
Right. Is that individual around or curiously absent?
You can certainly make a perception check.
I'll make a perception check because I'm awesome at that.
Yep.
Only because I rolled good. 19.
Okay. So Rocky turns around and goes tromping through the sands and looking behind rocks and sort of, squinting into the distance. You see swamps to the north. You see more sand to the east. You don't really see anything under the water. Nothing reveals itself behind any rocks. It appears, other than the footprints that remain in the sand, that there's really no sign of Whatley or her dinosaurs here at this point.
Hey guys, there's no real sign of Whatley or her dinosaurs at this point. So here's what I suggest. I suggest we go get a ship and sail it around until pirates come attack us.
It's already happened, hasn't it?
Well, that's true. Let's do it a second time and not kill all of them.
Well, the other crew's here, right? Why don't we ask them where they're from, the area?
What about this where sand meets brook? Like, would that be where the a river empties out into the ocean or something?
Yeah.
So, just for the sake of reminding you what the topography looks like around you, because your characters, it would be right in front of you. You did see that there was that sort of small stream that went off into the side, and that did kind of come out in that sandy area nearby. That is an example of sand meeting brook.
How far
Want to go
is
check there? Maybe just washed up on shore. I'll go over there.
Okay.
I'm bringing my elephant. All right.
What would you like to learn?
I want to look and see if I see that same stone that was on top of the goose guy's staff laying around anywhere.
All right, so you're looking for the tiger's eye. Okay, go ahead and roll investigation.
I'll put my goggles down. 30.
Okay. So, number one, with the goggles down, you're able to detect this slight kind of oily sheen on the water. The closer it gets to that swampy area, the more sort of oily it seems. It also appears more viscous and starts to smell weird. It also becomes a little bit more thick, so it's more difficult to see through. Then there's that small little sort of pond off to the side, and you don't really see anything at the bottom of that. You're looking around again behind rocks, under things. With a 30 and the previous knowledge you had of the map, you are able to identify the hidden cache of items that was stored under a false rock on the north side of this beached area. There's Charles. Hey, what's up? We're investigating the island. Ronnie thinks the tiger's eye might be around here somewhere. So because you do find that hidden cache, you are able to locate, in fact, some what you take to be probably contraband items that have been hidden here for later use. You do see that they were documented on the interior of this false rock that says, in Thieves' Cant, don't touch, remove under penalty of death. And inside you see a number of what are probably very valuable items. These were things that you would recognize. Actually, make a history check. Let's start there.
Uh, 17.
Okay. So you will recognize these items as things that would not technically, like, you wouldn't look at them and think that they were valuable. Instead, what you recognize their value really is the black market. These are things that, when sold in specific locations, would be a big payout. It's like taking all the wheat from the big wheat area and selling it in the area where there's no wheat at all. That kind of thing, like the supply and demand. Except it's not wheat. It's things like silks. And you see that there's like a barrel of what appears to be a special kind of nut that there's a stamp on it that says it comes from the Renai forest. There are other such sort of trade goods, and this essentially is just a stash of them. So you're welcome to take as much or as little as you want if you would like to interact with them.
I'm going to check for traps before I start messing with it.
Very good. Investigation.
Natural 20.
Ooh.
So 33.
Okay. One thing that you notice as you get close to sort of picking these things up is there's a shift in the air pressure as your hand gets closer in a way that wouldn't make sense if these items were just sort of loosely cast about as it appears to be. You look a little closer and you realize that if you had reached any further, your hand would have touched a near invisible mesh that, as you get this close now, you're able to see the telltale sheen of a contact poison. And because of your high roll and natural 20, I will go ahead and tell you, would be deadly to somebody with a low enough roll.
Okay, so I'm not going to touch it. Is this like that stuff, the same stuff that was up in Slopton when we were in the caves? Because I think Kathy was able to touch it and didn't hurt her because she was immune to poison. Is this like the same kind of thing? We just have to kind of break through it and then we can get the stuff underneath.
Let me think about that. Yeah, there was that area where you caught all the vampires and there was a chest inside and it had, I think I remember what you're talking about, and this is almost exactly that. Yeah. It's not identical, but it is the same concept.
I do have resistance to poison, but terrible stats, so probably a draw.
I used to be immune to poison, but
based on past knowledge, does Ronnie think she would be able to like maybe get a branch and kind of break it and flop it aside?
Yeah, so interacting with anything poisonous, especially something this deadly, is going to be a sort of taking a risk, but it would amount to essentially a disabled device check.
Okay, I will try that. These tools check.
Yeah. So for clarity, if you fail, you will be exposed to the poison. If you succeed, you will be able to eliminate the mesh without any issue.
Why don't you let me hit it with the stick?
Well, I don't want the poison to get on the food.
Oh. Yeah, you guys. I forgot.
we can't eat poison. Okay. All right. 20.
20.
Yeah.
All right. So
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So as you pull out your thieves' tools, you begin to kind of like take these long metal hooks and like loop them into the mesh and then pull them away and secure them, and then take another metal loop hook and pull it away another direction, and eventually you're able to basically get it pinned to the underside of the false rock. And you're pretty confident that being careful and taking your time, you can probably get most of the stuff out of this rock without exposing yourself to the poison.
Okay. So you said there was like silk and nuts?
Yeah, like silk, barrels of nuts. Let me get the full list here. You see like packages of herbs that have been sort of notated in languages that you are probably not familiar with. You see exotic looking weapons, things that you wouldn't be familiar with. Like they were probably made by craftsmen from a faraway location. You see some of them made of like obsidian and like shale. There are
there any staves, like quarter staves?
Any quarter staves? Roll luck dice. Let's see.
One, 6, 4.
Okay. I'll say there is a quarterstaff, but it is lodged so far in the back that you would have to chance with a good dexterity roll. You wouldn't expose yourself, but there was a chance that you might expose yourself to the poison.
All right.
You see there's several bottles of what are probably alcohol, other liquids of different colors, what appears to be like large quantities of, sort of the equivalent of tobacco, the kind of thing you would stuff into a pipe and smoke.
I'm taking that and the alcohol.
Okay.
I'm pretty much going to take everything I can that's not close to the poison.
Okay. So your thought, based on how much you've gathered, is that sold in the right location, you could probably sell all of this off for 2,800 gold. The amount that you were able to recover. The remaining 200 or so is sort of left in the back, and you're guessing probably too dangerous to grab unless you took a lot of time and had some good rolls to make sure you didn't touch the mesh.
Okay.
But amongst all of the objects that you pull out, you're positive you have not laid eyes on anything that resembles the tiger's eye.
Okay. Well, I don't think the Weatherstone is at this where brook meets sand area, but
as you think back on the prophecy, you also remember that there was a camp mentioned, that there was a sealkin mentioned.
So sealkin is another type of people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Would I know where they might hang out?
So interesting question. Let's make this another history check.
Ooh, much better. 24.
Okay, pretty good. So you know that there are like communities of sealkin that live basically this side, like south in the what would you call it? The sort of coastal shores of the Winsley Highlands. So they live sort of on that coastal area, but more sort of out to sea. They're kind of off the coast.
So near the Dreaming Desert?
Yeah, like down that direction.
Okay. So I'm looking at the map right now.
Mm-hmm.
I see a river that splits off into two rivers that's to the east of the Dreaming Desert.
Right. Yeah, we're talking probably even on the other side of the Dreaming Desert, actually.
Oh, off the map?
Well, yeah. So south of the Winsley Highlands, if you go by the lines, would be off that direction. So it would be west of the Dreaming Desert.
Okay.
However, I mean, you're well acquainted with the way that communities disperse throughout Athanasia. You've seen swan folk and hedgehog folk and pig folk, and like they're just because large communities of them live in that area doesn't mean that Sealkin couldn't end up someplace else in smaller communities or maybe even as individuals.
All right. So I'm thinking probably across the sea, but we'll just have to keep an eye out for Sealkin pods. I don't know what they're called. Sealkin groups.
What do you call them?
Would we be able to ask some of that other ship's crew, since they know probably the area probably better than we do?
Yeah, I mean they're there, and they mentioned to the others that they were willing to sort of reconvene after they've had some time to examine the clues and sort of share the adventure if you are interested. So, do the rest of you pass that along to Yara?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they're available. They're willing to talk.
That's probably our best bet for the time being, seeing as how we're not as familiar with the area. Some of these lines of the prophecy might make sense to those who frequent the area.
So for fun, a collective noun for seals would include a colony, a rookery, a herd, a harem, or a bob.
A bob of seals.
I like a harem of seals. That's kind of fun.
Oh, before I leave the is it like sand, like down in the hole of the cache?
You recognize that the false rock actually does have a bottom, like it's been crafted so that it doesn't, like you wouldn't be able to dig under the rock and like get at it kind of thing. So it's constructed so that it's completely enclosed when it's shut.
Oh, okay. So in the big empty spot that I made, can I just get out a piece of chalk and write XO, XO, and then find a night crawler and then pull everything back up?
100%.
Okay.
Bump your inspiration die for that. That was amazing.
Yay! I'm
Yes.
gonna die later for that.
Did you sign Ronnie or did you just put
No, I signed Nightcrawler.
Oh, that's even better. Okay, good. Yes, perfect. All right. So you guys discover what you do, and you're welcome to go talk to the crew of the Maelstrom if you'd like. So Yara, you're going to go have a conversation with the first mate?
Yeah, just to see if any of this makes any more sense to them then.
So as you come up the plank that they've extended out onto the shore, you see one of the crew members sort of like nudge Barta as she's looking down at the table, and she sees you coming aboard, and she says, how did things go?
Things went well. We've managed to recover the True Stone.
Oh, so the Guardian gave you the True Stone then? Has it caused you any trouble?
It's given me a terrible headache, but we tried to use it to locate the others, and unfortunately we were just given the same cryptic prophecy that apparently was already revealed.
Which, what did you hear? What were the words that were spoken? You, Yara, have no recollection.
I do not know, but my fellows, as I was the one who was channeling the conduit of the prophecy, but my fellow Rockets have said it was the same words that were spoken on the ship.
One of us. Okay. She says, "Oh, come, then look at this." And she pulls out her rendition of the prophecy, and she points to it, and she says, "Which part of this did you do you remember them describing? And as you sort of look over it, you realize that there was a second part of the prophecy that you were never that they did not explain to you and whatever. Anyway, so you're able to see the full prophecy now. And she says, we're not sure about this part that you heard, but we have been able to reason out a good impression of where we think this first one is. The message says, beneath the sea storm, we think the sea storm. Another word for sea storm is maelstrom. It might have been referring to the ship. Under deck. So it's either probably under the deck of the maelstrom, or maybe under the deck of another ship, or maybe the word deck is double meaning. We don't know. Betrayal comes from out the wreck. We think maybe there is a shipwreck somewhere below. And if we need to be careful, of course, if we go investigate, because the betrayal comes from out the wreck. It says the traitor calls the grasping beast. We have thought about this. We do not know of any grasping beasts except maybe the octopus or the squid, maybe. We have encountered nothing like this. But it says, upon the stone and traitor feast. We know nothing that might feast upon a stone, but perhaps the traitor, if it was big enough, maybe a shark or something, but sharks do not grasp. We're not entirely certain, but we think for certain that it should have been below the maelstrom at the time of the prophecy. So if we maybe retrace our steps back to where we were when the prophecy was given, we could go below and investigate and see if we can find a sunken ship or something. Actually, and she sort of, this light kind of turns on in her head, and she says, those pirates, when they came and attacked us, we sunk their ship. It might be aboard their ship.
Ah, well, then I suppose we need to return to that site and see if we can recover it.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand if you can breathe underwater.
Dave, I don't think you breathe, do you?
I don't think I breathe.
Yeah, but he can't float either.
I could get down to it in a hurry, though.
You'll get that stone, Rocky. Ah! Sinking a rock.
No one on the other ship can breathe.
Oh,
Can.
I thought you were talking as a player, not as a character. Yeah.
No, I was talking. That was Ronnie being her
Okay.
sunny self.
Yeah, very good, Charles. So Charles raises his hand. Rocky raises his hand. You do also notice that that Barta looks around and she says, "Well, as no one aboard our ship is made for being underwater, we have actually investigated this a little bit. There are times when perhaps we need to do something under the boat during a long voyage, and we need to have the ability to breathe underwater. Of course, there are always, caverns and shipwrecks that deserve to be investigated. We do not have much, but we do have 4 doses of a particular salve. It's made from a very rare seaweed, and it is a magical concoction that gives you gills. So you could theoretically, for an hour, gain the ability to breathe underwater. We could provide this, of course, if perhaps you were to bring something back for us from the wreck, something valuable in trade.
That shouldn't be a problem. I start to think to myself, there's also a possibility that we might be able to use the bit.
Here, I got all these nuts.
Oh, let me see that. And she'll go ahead and take a look. You give over the sort of small barrel of nuts, and she'll take a look at it.
There's some fine nuts.
She said, where did you get this?
I'm a woman of mystery. I have a lot of things you don't know about.
Make a deception check.
Okay. Ooh, 20.
Okay, so
20.
You just found those under that rock over there, didn't you?
You are a woman of mystery, Ronnie, and she's intrigued. She says, someone of your talents could be very useful aboard this ship. You wouldn't
Probably.
wish to join the crew when all of our adventures are over?
No.
You just flat out pass. Okay. She seems a little hurt by this, like kind of like you caught her off guard. Like she was really expecting an opportunity to learn what your mysterious self is like. So she's like, this I think will do. We could probably part with 3 of the portions if you would like to leave this with us in trade.
Sure, I think that should be enough if Bran and Rocky don't need it. Rocky, honey, can you swim?
No. Don't you remember? Didn't I fall into a lake one time?
Well,
yes.
No, I think your body was also destroyed upon impact too.
Yeah. I mean, I can walk across the bottom.
We need do you have on your ship, do you have a lot of excess rope and people willing to pull a rock off of the bottom of the ocean?
So as you guys have sort of been wandering around aboard ship, and Rocky, you've been sort of walking around and stuff like that, you do realize that like the entire boat begins to kind of rock back and forth as Rocky is walking around. She kind of looks you up and down, Rocky, and she looks over at the anchor. We could hook you up to that. Take it off. And so she orders a couple of crew members to go over, and they pull a linchpin and they haul this enormous anchor off, and they pull the chain out a little bit, and they kind of like hold it up to you a little bit, and they say, we have some locks. We could probably haul you up with this.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Rocky.
So they'll...
Aren't there 4 of us that need to breathe underwater then? Not 3?
Including Jareth, there are, yeah.
I'm not counting Jareth because he's not here.
He wouldn't get his for what anyway?
Yeah. Okay. She says, if by chance you need the last dose, you are welcome to, as I say, bring something back from the wreck that might be valuable. In the meantime, we are willing to offer you any kind of support you need from the deck. If you need to retreat and receive support, we would be ready to support you.
Should we bring the key with us in case something happens to the ship?
Well,
I'm asking the Rockets.
I believe we've ascertained that it doesn't sink now, so I have no problem taking it back out to deep water. But I would like to try to experiment and see if perhaps we can use the bit as a submersible.
That could be something too. That way we wouldn't have to worry about the anchor. I keep forgetting about the bit.
Yeah, because 2 of us could fit into that and go underwater to help support the other 2.
So, Ronnie, go ahead and mark off 470 gold worth of trade items.
Of these nuts.
470?
Yeah, 470 gold worth of trade items. And I'll treat this way back in the day when you guys were like 1st and 2nd level. I handed out adventurers packs and basically just said, here's 25 gold worth of equipment. If you think you have it and it's under 25 gold, then that's fine. You have it. That's basically what I'll say about these trade items. Like if there's something that you know would be a reasonable trade item to have, and it's, within the value of the trade items you have left, I'll say, yeah, you've got that.
Okay.
All right. So how would you guys like to proceed at this point?
Well, do we need to rest up before we try to go out there?
She looks at all the rest of you and she says, well, I, for one, will definitely need a rest. It is a bit exhausting to remain active for so long. We have been sailing for some time. We will maybe trade off watches, and all of you can rest while we keep guard.
I would like to try something before, but yes. I'm going to take that bit out and see if I can take it underwater.
Okay. All right. So you return to the ship. Humpty and Dumpty are there, throwing half full flasks of mysterious liquid at each other's groins. And they sort of straighten up as you walk in. Hey, boss, how's it going?
Stop throwing elixirs at each other's groins and get back to swabbing the deck.
They look around, trying to see if they can find a mop. Okay, boss. They both excuse themselves to the alchemy laboratory.
Then I'm going to try to use a bit.
So you'll climb into the bit because of the interior's sort of universal gravity. You open the iris opening in the floor, and you're able to climb into the bit. It is, as you remember, sort of magnetically locked to the key, but it isn't like engaged, right? Like it isn't synced. Energy-wise, but you're able to get in just fine. And then, of course, you remember that the bit has only 4 stone slots, so you're welcome to put any number of stones into it you would like in order to operate it.
I'll just put the Death Stone and the Divination Stone in there, just to power it up and to see if this will actually work, because that'll at least put 1, possibly 2 of us to be able to go help on this expedition.
Okay. This being your first experience sort of experimenting with how long it takes the stones to sink, so to speak, you remember that the first one you put in will take a day, but every additional one takes less and less time. So as you put a second one in, it now appears like you see the pending bar reduced from 1 day to 1 hour. So if you want to wait an hour, this will sink unless you want to put in an additional stone.
Just for the sake of hurrying this along, I'll put another one in there.
Okay. So it sinks now, instead of an hour, in 1 minute. And if you were able to put the 4th stone in, it would sink in 1 round. So within a minute, you're able to get the bit functional. And as you disconnect it from the main key, you'll be using your air vehicles check. So go ahead and see how well you're able to navigate.
I think I'm proficient with that, but it's just my base proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
So 17.
Okay. You're able to maneuver well enough. You do what you need to. Again, the gravity in here is universal, so wherever down is for you, that's where it's pulling, no matter whether you're upside down or not. Currently, you are, in fact, upside down in relation to the Earth. So if you right yourself, you're able to sort of see around you, again, with the holographic projection on the interior of the ship. There's no open windows. There's no glass. So you're basically just seeing a holographic projection of what exists outside of the bit. You're able to sort of float it down onto the surface of the water, and it appears that the bit follows the same sort of laws of physics that the key does. So it begins to float by itself unless you intentionally drive it down into the water.
Okay, I'll do that to see if it'll let me.
Okay. You attempt to do so. Go ahead and roll another air vehicles check.
I have to roll twice now, I think, because of that exhaustion.
Yes. Well, is it ability checks?
It says ability checks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my second check is just going to be a 14.
Okay. It's still easy enough. It's just movement, right? You're not trying to do anything fancy or maneuver. So you are able to basically direct it to you push the stick forward, and the whole thing begins to sink. You do notice, of course, that as you get to where the sand sort of comes down off the beach, it does rest on the sand. and it appears that it's able to maintain its depth even while you're not touching any of the controls at this point. So you take it that when you command it to descend, it descends as far as it can, and when you let go of the controls, it stays at the level that you are currently in.
All right, excellent. And no whooshing of water into the cockpit, so it must be watertight.
Yeah, I mean, roll an investigation check.
19, even with disadvantage.
Wow, you're great. So yeah, you look around. You don't see any trickles of water anywhere. It seems pretty, depth safe. So what you'll be referring to, the key has a chart of max altitude. When you are at a number of stones, it will have a max altitude listed. That max altitude is also the same as a max depth. So right now you said 3 stones inside.
Yes.
If you experiment a little further, you'll notice that you can go up to 40 feet down with 3 stones and have no issues. Once you go past 40 feet, you're able to see that there does start to be some trickling of water. It's no longer watertight past that distance.
Okay.
The more stones, the deeper it can go, which means, of course, that the maximum depth for a bit would be 80 feet all by itself because it can only hold 4 stones. The key, by contrast, can hold up to 16 stones, which could theoretically get it up to 60 miles below the surface. Of course,
we don't have that many, but we have quite a few.
Yeah. So, because there's 4 banks, and each bank has 4 slots. So,
all right. So probably can't take the bit because I don't think it'll be able to go depth enough, but we could, in a pinch, probably take the whole ship.
Right.
To the depth. I mean, depending on what depth we were at when this ship sank.
Right. And then just for clarity's sake, to make it easier on all of us, when you have the bit docked magnetically to the key, it has the same depth resistance as the key itself. So as long as it's part of the ship, then it has the same ability to resist water.
I'm getting flashbacks to Subnautica. If anybody's played that game before.
That's basically that game.
Yeah, that's like that whole game is exploring underwater and stuff.
Yep.
I was okay until I got attacked by one of the Leviathans, and I was like, nope, I'm done with this game. I got like ambushed by one, and I was like, oh. Okay, I will take the ship back, and then we'll set watch. I guess I just wanted to make sure that worked.
Okay. So the crew of the Maelstrom, because you guys are helping them in their quest, basically they're willing to just have the crew of the Maelstrom keep watch the entire night. So you guys are welcome to rest as long as you choose, and you won't need to make rolls. They'll be the ones taking care of things. So you're welcome to rest for 8 hours. Give a long rest, recover your spell points, recover your health, and so on.
Does that level of exhaustion go away?
It does, yeah. So
okay.
one long rest removes 1 level of exhaustion.
All right, so I'll relay the news to the party. I believe if we needed to, we could take the entire ship below the waves. We would probably need all of these stones installed in the ship, depending on what depth the ship has sunk to. As the bit itself,
in case we need to make a quick getaway.
The bit itself can also go underwater, but I don't think it's going to be able to obtain the depth we're going to need, unfortunately.
Let's get to the location and kind of see about how deep we need to go.
I'm going to grab I think I have the ship statistics somewhere.
Yeah, and I'll share them again as well. Or actually, I think they might be listed in the classroom. So under the Athanasia category, you'll see the key/bit stats. It's right there. Chad is off looking in the background.
Were we wanting to take a break tonight or
Yeah, I think that's fine.
press on?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go swap out my lawn. I'll be right back. So we can take a break here, and when you guys get done with your rest, we'll reconvene.
All right, we're paused.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Let me just go limp away in pain.
Why are you in pain?
I sprained my ankle today.
It looks like once you get to 4, you're at 85, 160, 320, 640. So we're probably going to need a decent amount of stones to be able to hit depth enough. Depending on how far out to see and what the depth is. I mean, we have no idea of being able to tell. Yeah. We could probably do a depth test, though, to see. Usually nautical ships can tell depth by lining it.
Well, when the screws start popping out, as deep as you can go.
Yeah, we can just do a depth check, I think, with rope and anchor. I think. I'm trying to remember how they used to do that in the ye olden days.
Well, they probably just have the rope marked.
Yeah, I think they just knotted it and then dropped.
Gosh dang. So, I'm on the Missouri list of COVID. I don't know what it's called, the eligibility thing. My group just came up eligible.
Uh-huh.
I keep getting these emails about appointments for the vaccination.
Yeah.
And they're towns that I haven't heard of because, we haven't lived here all that long. So I keep Googling them, and the closest one so far has been 2.5 hours away. I'm like, yeah.
I had a couple of my friends who live in Missouri said that Missouri tried to allot the vaccines to rural communities first, and that so many people were refusing to take them that they ended up having to throw out a lot of the doses.
Yeah, I don't know.
So then they changed allotment to urban areas because they realized that they weren't going to be using the doses in rural areas because of the hesitancy people had to get vaccinated.
Well, again, my mom and stepdad don't really feel like getting it. They live in a town of 3,500 people, and the closest Walmart is an hour and a half away. That just kind of tells you how. And they're like, well, we don't really know if we want to get it, and it's because hardly anyone there has gotten, COVID. So this one's only 2 hours and 9 minutes away.
Yeah, Kansas just opened up to essential workers, so I have my appointment for the 23rd. So just gotta hang in a little longer.
I qualify because retail workers qualify, and I technically work in a retail environment, and Chelsea does too, but I don't know how to make an appointment. Everywhere we've looked that actually has the doses or whatever, they're totally booked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I just lucked out because they sent an email to management saying, hey, we're eligible, you have to call Grace Med, and that's who I called to set mine up, but I don't know if that was just our work only, or if I just got lucky and got the information fast enough to where I was able to book it the same day. I mean, I don't know.
Because I took Stormont, and they're totally booked, but they're like, you can call this number. They open at 8 a.m., and you can put your name down to come at the end of the day in case, people don't come or in case there's time left over. But we only are only taking 10 names a day, and we're not keeping your name. You have to call every day.
That's crazy.
And then
so do they not
had them, but they're completely booked up all week. So I was like,
Does Kansas have a state registration? Yeah, that's what I signed up on was the state of Missouri has a website that you can basically get in line.
Shawnee County in particular has been a hot mess. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to how you sign up for it. Like there's still elderly people that haven't been able to get a vaccine, so I don't know why they opened it up to next year already.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, like, if it's opened up to our work, then I'm going to call and sign up.
I think Biden wants it to be stuff open up quicker. But I think he wants it to be available to everyone by the end of May or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, supposedly it'll be full eligibility by May. Like, anybody who wants to can get one by May. But how they're prioritizing in each county and each state, I have no idea. It seems like it's like Douglas County. I know people who are not essential workers, younger than me, that they've had their second dose of vaccine already.
Wow.
So why they're way ahead of the curve than say Shawnee, which is only like Lawrence and Topeka are like 20 minutes apart.
Yeah, different counties, different people making the rules. I guess I'm sure the logistics is a nightmare.
I got my second dose of the vaccine today.
Did you really?
I did. As a
Amy,
team signed me up. I told them I wanted it, and they said, "Okay, we'll go on this day." So
nice. Amy gets her first one on Thursday.
We are now.
You're muted, Chels.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, you guys head out after the long rest. The maelstrom tracks back to where they think they were when the pirate ship attacked, and you guys are able to pretty well confirm that you are where you need to be. Who's flying in the Key and who's with the pirates, or is everybody in the Key?
I'll go with the pirate. Aren't I hooked to the anchor chain?
That's the idea, yeah.
I'll stay with Rocky on the ship, the pirate ship.
Okay.
I'll go on the ship as well.
Okay,
Hero,
so Hero and Ronnie are on the pirate ship. Got it.
Hero, do you have a way to breathe under
Nope.
water?
Well, we're getting a salve from them.
Okay.
Yep.
I just didn't know if there was like a magical method that you had.
Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
I traded my nuts. So
That's going to be the ongoing joke, I think, for
Yep.
a while now.
For a while, yes.
What can I get for D's nuts?
So I have three uses of it. So one for me, one for Hero, and one for whoever else wants it.
Yara can take it. Bran can breathe underwater, and Dave can breathe underwater.
And
since
we'll
we've
just
established
say Jareth is going to stay on the key.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. He's the first mate, right? Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right.
Charles, are you there by any chance?
Are we going to need to leave the stones on the key, or are we going to be able to take those with us?
Okay. This actually brings me to my next point. Yara, as you get closer, go ahead and make an investigation check using your proficiency because you have proficiency with the key. You're essentially using the systems of the key to understand what's the readouts that are being presented to you.
As we approach the site.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm rolling an investigation check, but I'm adding an additional proficiency bonus.
Yeah, you're rolling an investigation check and you're adding a proficiency bonus if you weren't already proficient with investigation.
Okay, that's where I was confused. I'm already proficient in it, so.
Okay, then you're just rolling the same way you always do then.
27. That's like
Okay,
one of my
great.
better skills.
So, how many stones do you currently have docked with the key?
Well, I think as many as we can because I don't know the depth
Okay.
of which the ship is at, so we need maximum range right
So
now until we know more.
Everybody who has donated a stone to the key as of right now, go ahead and post in chat how many you have donated.
Well, I've got my 2 in there.
Okay.
I say mine, but I mean to just happen to have them.
The 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I can if I leave the ship.
You can donate your destruction stone. You just break it off of your finger.
Okay, but and then I lose the.
Does Rocky go like pull my finger whenever we need the stone?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Rocky, we fell for that joke last time.
If I do that, would I have my sphere powers? I'd lose those for the time, wouldn't I?
Yes. So you're imbuing that influence, that magic into the destruction stones so that it can function like one of the spirit stones.
Right. I would like to not donate mine unless it's necessary.
We can have Jareth leave the time stone.
Jareth doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, because he's already on the.
Yeah. Okay.
He's going to be on the ship anyway, so.
So I see Yara with 2. Is Finney coming with you, Charles?
I think that's what he meant. Finney's coming with him. Yeah.
So the alteration is with the ship. The warp stone is going with Ronnie. The mind stone is staying in the ship. And I don't think we have any.
Jareth's time stone.
Jareth's time stone.
Okay, so 5. All right. So
we can't scrounge up a 6th one, can we? We'll see what this shows us.
Okay.
I might leave the warp stone if we need to, but I would like to keep it if at all possible because it's pretty handy.
If this does what I think it does, we'll know if I have enough or not.
Okay. So what you discover, Yara, as you are approaching the location in the key, are you on the surface of the water or are you below the surface of the water currently?
Well, I assume we need to find the site, so I'm on the surface.
Okay, so
we can't navigate underwater very well.
Correct. So you're sailing with the maelstrom on the surface of the water. As you get closer to the site, the divination stone actually glows and pops up a holographic display that begins to show you this sort of emanating weak source. And you realize that this is basically pinging like radar to see if it can locate the stone in question. You realize, however, that while it is detecting something, it's not close enough to pinpoint the location. It's basically saying there's something nearby. See if you can investigate, look around a little bit to see if you can figure out where this thing is.
All right, well, I believe that the stone is indeed nearby that we are in searching for. The captain's assessment seems to be correct. The stone must have been on that ship that attacked them and was sunk. However, I don't have the range. I would either need more stones or we will need to submerge for us to get closer, for me to be able to pinpoint an exact location.
I'll put the warp stone
Like the power level.
So Yara, as soon as this happens, you gain the knowledge of how the key works. That's with the divination stone socketed, and the distance between the divination stone or between the key and the stone in question, as long as it is within the same max altitude distance, it reveals its exact location. So you now see that now that the max altitude has been increased, the distance that the divination stone can search is also increased. So it goes from 160 feet to 320 feet.
It's like every stone we put in, it's like a little bar, and it goes like boop, like another bar. Yeah.
So now you're able to the following distance, the 320 feet, now corresponds to the amount, the height you can levitate above the earth, the depth you can sink to below the surface of the water, and the distance around you in a sphere that you can search using the divination stone.
Yeah, you just see Yara like, interesting. Yes, our range has been doubled.
So Yara is understanding this perfectly, and basically now that it's able to pinpoint the pinpoint the stone's location, it also comes up with this like sort of sonar, oh gosh, what was the there was a particular, okay, do you remember the very first X-Men film when they were looking at like that sort of display of Liberty Island and the Statue of Liberty and everything? Yeah. So Allison's shaking her head. She's like, yeah. There's to that, it pops up like a column of dots until it's able to give you essentially a rough topography of the ocean beneath you. And so within that topography, it reveals basically this scene before you. You're able to see the crashed and sunken ship. You're able to see sort of surrounding vegetation. You see over in this area, and I'm not going to move it because it would be annoying, but you see over in this area that there is like a submerged, like destroyed home. The rest, like the back end of the ship, the aft is over here, broken off of the main area. Over this way looks like it's a submerged, like a square, like watchtower. Over here is another square watchtower, and there's another sort of smaller house over this direction. So it sort of lays out the field in front of you. I really wish I was able to show this to you guys in real life because it would be so much more interesting. Anyway, but then it comes up with a pinpoint dot, a little line that comes off, and then in Terran, do you understand Terran?
I do.
Both of you are used to.
Mikan used to. I don't think Yara does not, though.
Okay, so Yara sees a word displayed in Terran referencing that single pinpoint location inside of the shipwreck.
Can anybody read this? I believe it's Terran, but I cannot read this.
Didn't we establish that you had some number of languages yet to learn?
I now know Terran.
Okay, so you know Primordial, specifically the dialect of Terran. You recognize that as the name of...
The stone, man. Probably.
This is... One moment.
Recalculating.
So I'll post it in chat, but the name would be pronounced, I think, please, those of you who speak Welsh, never see this. I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to do my best. Tiwlwch is the name that is presented to you. You recognize this is translated as darkness.
Did you get your throat cleared? Yeah, that's probably better than I would do now that I can see it written out there. Welsh is weird.
I love it. I love a language I can't pronounce because it's fascinating to me. Okay, so you see this pop up, and you also see that there are a number of, again, this sort of like pixelated display is showing a number of what appear to be humanoids. The resolution isn't that great, but you detect that these humanoids are moving around, swimming pretty deftly, and you get the impression that they're moving smoothly enough. They must be adapted to underwater conditions.
Okay. I'll explain. Everybody else can see the same image that I can, but I'll kind of point and say, so there's the ship. It appears that there's some aquatic life forms that are nearby.
You say over the loudspeaker, it appears that there are some aquatic life forms nearby.
Would you like to
Do they look like sealkin, or do we not get that detailed of an image?
Well, Yara isn't really able to see that much detail, so she wouldn't know. But they do seem to be moving around pretty smoothly.
Shall we send an away team, or shall we surface? Shall we dive below the surface?
How would you guys like to, I guess, communicate while your party is currently on 2 different locations?
Do we still have those communicator things? We are going on a Star Trek away mission. That's exactly what we're doing right now. We have communicators. We're setting our ship down.
Can you do that underwater?
Did I give Chad Mekon's communicator?
Oh, of course you did, because it was magical, and so it naturally survived. What was your question, Charles?
Can we talk underwater?
Let me think about that. The spell that was into those communicators was the message spell. So let's see what the message spell
I think it's telepathic, isn't it? If it's telepathic, we can. Even if you're not in an air bubble, you should still be able to communicate. You won't be able to say words, but...
Right. So what it says is you point your finger toward a creature within range and whisper a message. So the message is traveling through the air, essentially.
Would that work though if you're whispering and just going blah, 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 blah. So you wouldn't be able to understand?
Yeah, it's actually specific. It says magical silence, 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood blocks the spell. It doesn't say anything about water, so I'll take it.
Yeah, but those of us in the ship probably won't be able to communicate with those outside the ship.
You can always just like open one of the hatches and lean out with your head. Did we have any extras of those? Didn't Barty have one or Molly have one?
Kathy had one.
No, Kathy had one, and I have all of Kathy's stuff because I'm a hoarder.
You have so much stuff.
What was the max range on those?
The message has a range of 120 feet.
Oh, not very far then.
Charles, are you rearranging your house?
Sorry.
Did you fall down the stairs?
There's a lot.
I don't suppose we do have an extra one, do we?
I think we do, and we're going to need to be able to communicate. You're planning on coming with us, Hero?
Where else am I going to be?
I don't know. I'm not your boss.
Yes,
Here.
I am.
Put that in your ear.
I will do so.
So what she hands you is a badge that appears to be the
Or
holy
not in your
symbol.
ear. I don't know where it goes.
Yeah, it's literally a Star Trek badge. Like you tap.
That's right. I forgot.
In the symbol of Barty's holy symbol.
Correct. So
That's right.
Barty's holy symbol is a pair of intersecting V's that appear to be like sort of intersecting, like crossing over each other. According to Barty's explanation, it was the representation of angelic beings coming down and meeting mankind, sort of in the middle. So it's a reference to angels and the light.
I will stick it right next to my holy symbol.
All right.
I'll show her how it works because Ronnie remembers. I don't remember.
Yeah. You tap on it, you say a thing, and I think it's, what is it, within you here's the mention reply. Yeah, you whisper a message, whatever you can say within 6 seconds.
Now, I don't think Rocky ever got one, but Rocky has a different. I used the Mind Stone somehow for telepathy.
Yeah. So you've got a single grain of the Mind Stone inside of you that gives you a 60-foot telepathy.
Yeah.
But your 60-foot telepathy, I'll say, will interface with these messages, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
The other thing I'll say is that for the purposes of communication, I am perfectly fine treating the key as an arcane beacon for this kind of communication. So we'll treat the entire key, any portion of the key will be both a broadcasting and a receiving antenna.
Nice.
So you can see the location of the stone. You can see that there are humanoids, aquatic humanoids, swing around it. And Yara, as you sit there and sort of observe what's going on, you notice that the position of the stone, there is an aquatic humanoid sort of separating from the others. And you notice that it gets closer to the stone, and then the stone's position begins shifting.
Uh-oh. We're going to have to act quickly. One of them has, I think, taken the stone and is moving it.
I jump into the water.
No.
The finishes locking down the chains before you jump, and all of a sudden, sploosh, and the chain aboard Ronnie and Hero both hear the chain.
I frantically start using the salve, and I shove the other thing over to Hero, so she.
Yeah, I jumped in too.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody goes overboard. Let's go ahead and have you guys.
I assume I'm still on the ship, though.
Yes, you are still on the ship. Although
I'm just like, oh crap!
You now watch as you notice Rocky pop up as a little dot with a little line, and it shows his name, Guarkaiduad, and then the different.
He has his own label.
He does. You see differently colored dots representing the others, and they appear as sort of a thin kind of sort of shimmering, bad resolution humanoid shape that's now sinking down into the water. So anyone who is outright sinking will be moving at half speed, but you are welcome to move in any direction you wish, and I'm not going to worry about any like athletics checks for the sake of swimming unless you're under pressure. So everybody goes down into this area, and we'll assume that Yara is still on the ship somewhere. So over here, there's Rocky. Here's Ronnie. We got a Hero. Nope, that's a Jareth. We got a Hero. Got Jareth aboard the ship with Yara. We got a Bran down into the water. And then we have a Finny who came down with him.
I would like to point out that you guys are still within range of the spire shot, so I can provide fire support.
Nice.
All right.
It's going to be long distance, though.
Yep, that's about it. As of currently, Yara, I think you are still on the surface, correct?
For now, I am, yeah.
Okay. So you are welcome to descend if you choose at the speed of the magnetic drive, which I believe is 30 feet.
How about I just, since everybody has jumped in immediately now, I will slowly start to descend. So okay, I'm not like trying to like dive at maximum depth. I'm just slowly descending now.
Slowly descending. All right, sounds good. What you discover underneath the waves amongst. I'll show you the stuff I've got for you. So this is what appears to be some kind of royal matriarch. She's dressed in more sort of ceremonial gear, and she carries a bident, which is what this thing is called because it only has two pieces. The bident there. You see, and I'm going to actually get out my notes on this because I want to make sure I describe to you who's who.
This is the wreck that we just sent down, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so right. So you see that, and then you see near her a large fish-like horse who appears to be covered in fish scales and has fins and a long sort of dolphin-like tail behind it, but its hooves appear to be scooped as if it would be adapted to swimming around. That is near her. You also see, once again, defaulting notes, several other smaller, like individuals, would appear to be probably younger sirens, which are what these things are. It's a little small, but that's one of the other sirens. There's two of them, and those are sort of digging around in parts of the ship. You see, what is that? That is this. There we go. Another woman who appears to be very similar to the first one, but slightly larger in size. And she appears to be over here conducting business, telling people where to go and so forth. There are two others. This one appears to have sort of paler skin, and he's got a little crab companion that he has on a leash. It's running around, climbing up the mast of the ship here. This guy is just now emerging from under deck, and it appears that he is carrying, in fact, a trident. You see another individual carrying a trident coming out from under that side. And finally, near each of the other major characters, you see these sort of sea serpent-like reptiles, but they have front and back legs with webbed fingers. This is what in this world would traditionally be considered a sea serpent. Like this is like, if you say the word sea serpent, this is what a person would think of. And they appear to be sort of just positioned nearby for the sake of, you would guess, transportation. Like there's one per, so it's like a person standing next to their horse, basically. All right. All that being said, who would like to act first? We're not in initiative, but depending on how things go, you might be.
Can we tell who has the stone?
Yara is able to detect where the stone is, and she identifies it as being over here in this area. Yara, you see the reading of the person who is moving the stone around, and it looks like they are not paying attention elsewhere. Everybody else here appears to have turned and sort of noticed the group descending in the water. Certainly Rocky sort of like lands into the
Thud.
and like a big cloud of dirt, mud sort of blooms.
Silt, perhaps?
Yeah, thank you. So the silt kind of blooms up around him in this big sort of circle. You are able to identify that the stone is here, and you can kind of give them directions accordingly if you would like. How would Yara describe that location to the others?
The ship site?
Where the stone is located. That was Dave's question. Is we know where it's located, and you, Yara, you do, but how would you communicate that to the others?
Well, they were in the middle of the ship, right? I'll just say that there's many humanoid figures around the ship right now, but one has actually entered the ship, which is where the stone is located. It's now moving, I'll just say which cardinal direction it's moving in at the moment.
Yeah, so you notice that it's moving this way a little bit, but it's very slow. Like it seems to be inching forward.
So that would be, is that west then? I don't know what direction the ship's
Sure.
facing or anything.
We'll call it west. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it's westbound right now, but still within the confines of the ship, which appears to have split in half once it hit the ground.
Well, and there's you can't see it on the map right now, but over this direction, there's actually the aft end of the ship has split it off as well. So there's 3 sections.
Okay, so it's on the bow right now then.
Yeah, so it's underneath the center section.
How deep is this? Like, can Ronnie see? Do we all have visibility?
Right. So you guys are somewhere between 160 and 320 feet down. I realize it's a large sort of range of distance. We'll say 200 feet.
Yeah, that might start. They may be able to breathe underwater. Well, light will probably be a problem, and then pressure might after a certain point. Not so much for Rocky, who's made of rocks.
Right. For the sake of ease, moving forward, we'll just assume that this magical substance that allows you to breathe underwater also gives you some amount of depth.
I just had all of my scuba diving training is like coming back to me now. So it's like, after a certain point, yeah, it's once you hit like 300-foot range, it's gonna get dicey.
Yeah. You guys have your bodies have been adapted to the environment.
This is some damn fine seaweed.
Once I hit the ground, I'm going to bow to the matriarch.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Oh, okay. 17 plus something.
0.
17 minus 2. All right.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So 15. Out of the matriarch.
Actually, I would almost rather do like an animal. All right.
You'll do a what now?
I'd almost rather do animal handling at that point.
Oh, yeah. So, well, these aren't animals, but you give what you would consider the best possible approximation of a deferential gesture. The matriarch appears to take note of you, and she extends her bident above her head, and you see all the surrounding individuals kind of turn and give her heed. And she says, "This one I will speak to. And who might you be, stranger who bows in the ways of the humans?" She's speaking in, actually, what languages do you know?
Boobity bobbity boobity.
Orion, Druidic, Common, Sylvan, Terran. So probably none of those.
Okay. Actually, you're in luck. So Terran is a dialect of Primordial. She's currently speaking Aquan. So you hear the but you understand the general gist.
Okay.
She's greeting you. She is listening to you. She's not like ushering you away or telling her goons to attack. She waits patiently.
You said each of these has their own serpent?
Yeah, so this one would have her sea serpent, he would have his, and this one would have his. And then this one you take is not a sea serpent specifically.
Ouch. Okay.
Dang. Fun facts on pressure.
Yeah, I actually have a AD&D book of Ships and Seas that talks about what pressure depths you'll get crushed at and stuff.
Oh no!
Like underwater adventuring used to be like a big thing in
cool
the older editions, probably the newer ones too.
She gestures to you, Bran, and she says, Does the surface dweller have nothing to say?
I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this because I'm basically speaking in broken language, whatever it is.
100%, which means that any kind of charisma check you're going to make is going to be made at disadvantage. But at least you get to make it.
And that's what I'm trying to think of. I know speak good.
Okay.
Looking for rock.
Okay.
I'll slowly start walking toward that direction, but I'm actually going to try and befriend her servant.
Okay, so if you're walking toward her, so here's an interesting component that we're not really taking into account because this is a flat map. This guy is like sort of hovering in the water under the deck. She's hovering above the deck. This one's hovering under the deck. He's hovering above the deck. They're hovering sort of like up in the air above everybody else. So as you would walk toward her, you would sink and become basically further away from her, unless you wanted to like slowly make your way up that direction by swimming.
I'm actually a really good swimmer. That's like my power.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a swim speed?
Huh? Apparently that's what green mages get, is that we can swim like really good.
Oh, yeah. Dang. Okay. What's your swim speed?
It's 20 feet, which is my normal move speed.
Okay, so you do not move at half speed. You approach the matriarch and her hippocampus.
Oh, okay.
And how would you like to proceed? You guys are watching all this happen, by the way. You have no idea what's going on. Well, except for Rocky, you'd probably understand it.
I guess I want to make contact with the hippocampus and try to, I guess, befriend it, or like, here, boy. Okay. I speak better to animals than I do people.
Right. So you're kind of schmoozing her steed. Okay. Go ahead and make your handle animal check.
All right. 13.
Okay.
Yeah, what the heck?
Okay. Yeah. So you pull out some scraps of plant food that you think it would like, and you sort of wave it in front of its nose, and it begins to kind of flare its nostrils as if it's really interested in what this, land food might be like. And it kind of nibbles at it a little bit, and you see the matriarch smile and say, "Your gift is well received. Who are you, and why do you find yourselves here? You said you were looking for rocks? We have plenty of rocks around this place. What brings you to this shipwreck in specific, though?"
Special rock. Bran. Good with animal.
I can see that. That is for certain. So you are good with animals, and you seek a special.
Yes.
Can I step up next to him and also bow?
But I will point to Rocky and say special rock.
Oh no, is that the extent of how far I can get? I would like to bow and I say, we dropped something, we're just looking for it.
Okay. She looks at you and she seems kind of puzzled that, number one, that a rock would talk, and number two, that it would speak something close to her language. And she says, "Where did you come from? What sort of creature are you? Were you raised by one of the magi on the large stone castle?"
No, I am a stone spirit.
Indeed. Your kind are exceedingly rare, and I have never seen one so, might I say, big before.
Oh, you can say it.
She turns to the rest of her minions and she kind of speaks a couple of commands, and they begin to relax and just go back about their business. They continue to investigate the ship, and she says, "So your friend here, I take it, has said that he is looking for a special rock like you. We do not know of any stone spirits in this area. Are you looking for another of your kind?"
Like I said, we dropped something earlier. It was on the ship when it sank.
Oh, we have been here for some time. I would imagine I would notice something as lovely as yourself. I have seen nothing of that kind.
Oh, it's not as cool as me.
Oh, describe it for me. Perhaps I could be of more assistance.
Can I do a insight check? Is she being real, or is she like trying to weasel information out of me?
Okay, so roll insight. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's two. A two.
Okay.
Two.
She's real pretty, and her scales are really sparkly, and they shimmer, and there's just a little bit of light down here, and it's fun to look at.
Gosh, you're pretty.
Thank you.
We had an idea where it was in the ship.
Yeah, like Yara kind of gave you a vague description, like it's in the center part moving west.
On the west side of the ship, is that just a big hole? Is it like open on that side?
Oh yeah, I mean the ship is broken apart into 3 pieces. So this part is definitely like open to the water. This is open to the water.
Can I try to sneak over there while they're all distracted by Rocky?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and roll your stealth check. I would say because this is
I'm just gonna like slowly like scooch away.
So because this is difficult terrain for you, I would say it imposes disadvantage. So I think that makes it a straight roll, correct?
I don't know. Let me look. Well, I have supreme sneak, so it means I have advantage on stealth checks if I'm moving no more than half my speed in a turn.
Okay. We'll say for the purposes of this, because you're trying to move at half of what you would normally be moving, you're already at half speed. So if you move quarter speed, I'll say you can roll it straight up. If you want to move the full half speed that the water would impose, then you would be rolling. You probably would not get the advantage, so you'll be at disadvantage at that point.
Okay, but quarter speed is not advantaged.
Yeah,
then?
quarter speed would be a straight roll.
Okay, I'll just do that.
Okay.
Like as they're distracted, I'm just gonna
move slowly. Yeah, got it. Okay, go ahead and make your roll.
$29.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. You over the course of several rounds, because I think a quarter of your speed is probably what, 5 feet?
Like
averaging.
Half speed is 15, so
7 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're mega boy. You're moving. You're moving.
Okay.
Okay, so Rocky is there talking to the matriarch. Bran is schmoozing with the hippocampus. Yara, we'll say since you're watching this, go ahead and make an investigation check.
18.
Okay. Ronnie, what's your passive perception?
16.
All right. Yara, what you notice is that the stone's position suddenly changes very quickly. And Ronnie, as you are sort of sidling over to this direction and kind of trying to get a bead on what's inside the ship, as the rest of them are talking, you see that the individual that was previously kind of inside the ship and not really participating in the events that were happening outside of it suddenly darts away toward the west.
Okay,
And
I whisper.
rather hurriedly and without any kind, like they rolled a natural 1 on their stealth check, so it's like, woo! You notice that it's one of these sort of smaller sea folk.
The stone is on the move.
Yeah.
So Yara alerts everyone that the stone is on the move. Ronnie, you said what?
Same thing.
Okay, so okay, go ahead and roll initiative, because at this point everybody's going to be reacting simultaneously, and it's a matter of who reacts first and what they do.
Well, can we try to not react?
I mean, you're welcome to do nothing on your turn.
Well, that's what I was saying. Do they seem to be reacting as well?
There is this tense moment where now that attention has been drawn to what's going on, everybody who's nearby, all the sirens look in the direction that Ronnie is pointing, and they see one of their own.
No, I didn't point. I whispered to everybody.
Oh,
I'm not doing this.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was going to do. The other sirens see that their crewmate bolted.
I misunderstood you. Okay, then yes, then you're able to communicate to everybody that this thing is occurring. And Yara would also have communicated the same through the spell as well. Okay, so then it's basically down to whether or not these guys notice it on their own. I mean, he did roll a natural 1 on his stealth check. Yeah, 1 or 2 of them do begin to kind of notice that something is happening, and this one turns to the matriarch and in Aquan says, "Oh gosh, I want to get the words right." Mistress Kiora, he says. What did I name them? Did I give them names? Nope, apparently not. One of your what's the thing? It's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, one of the priestesses. There we go. Yeah, one of the priestesses is escaping. She turns that direction. And then that would be where the initiative happens. Because now that she's noticed, it's they would probably do things as well, but you're welcome to do things now that you see that that she's alerted to the situation. Okay, so let's see. Nope, it's cocked. Balls. Okay. 25 to 20?
25.
30, 20? Thank goodness.
Ronnie got a 25.
Dirty 20.
20 from Bran. Did you get one, Dave?
Did I get
something 25 to 20?
No.
Okay. 20 to 15?
17.
Okay.
Although I'm not going to be able to do much from up here.
You can communicate.
Without nuking stuff from...
15 to 10?
11. I used inspiration.
Okay. And 10 to 5?
5.
Oh, man. He's got 5. And the sirens rolled a natural 1. All right. Ronnie, as you see that this individual has notified the matriarch that one of the priestesses is escaping and she turns in that direction, what would you like to do?
So did you say one of the prisoners is escaping?
Priestesses. But this was in Aquan, so unless you know...
I know Taryn.
Oh, that'll work, yeah. You get enough to know the gist. He's calling attention to the lady that's leaving. And
I'm going to guess if he's using the word escaping, that it's not a good thing for them. And I don't have any of my stones because they're on the ship. So I'm just going to swim fast after it.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Did we get back all of our stone powers with a long rest, or is that a 24-hour period?
I'm going to call it a long rest. That's fine. You recover all the spell points.
Right. Okay.
Yep. That was Ronnie. She's moving. No actions just yet.
I'm gonna. Do I have to double move to catch up to him?
I mean, he's got a swim speed and you don't, so you'd probably have to double move to stay in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, because ranged attacks are at disadvantage, right?
Correct.
And I don't necessarily want to kill this thing, so I'm just gonna move and try to grab him, I guess.
Okay. So you will move. Let me look at their stats here so I can tell you what's going on. Small okay, so there's that. They have a swim speed of 30 feet, and they are double moving. So they're moving 60 feet per round. With a double move, you're moving 30, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're shooting off through the water. They're trying to escape as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Sorry, was there anything else, Ronnie?
I don't know what else I can do.
Okay.
Right now, so.
All right, Bran, you're up.
How far away is he?
You're talking about the escapee?
Yes.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Well, 30, and then another 60 feet, but off the map. So imagine 90 feet away.
That kind of sucks. Honestly, none of my spells ever worked that far.
Okay.
Ooh. How friendly is this horse?
He seems to be okay. What'd you roll? An 18?
Yeah.
He seems to like you well enough. I mean, you take it, given your animal handling check, you can tell that this is a trained mount. So, climbing on top or anything else that you wanted to do with it would be sort of, dependent upon your ability to win it over. But yeah, he's nice. He's friendly.
Right. I mean, I'd whistle for him to go, but I can't whistle underwater.
Okay. So,
what I want him to hold on to him and tell him to go.
Okay, so you're going to attempt to convince the hippocampus to swim after. Roll your animal handling.
Very good. Still 15.
Okay, fair enough. Well, luckily for you, this one has been newly trained and presented to the matriarch. So it knows how to follow commands, but is not necessarily bound to her directly. So sure, you tell it to move, and it moves 50 feet. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Yeah, so you're off the map as well, but you're gaining on the escapee, I guess. You're 40 feet away from them now. So, but between your animal handling
that's
and
perfect.
Giving it the command.
I can freeze a 20-foot square, so I can catch him.
Okay. Is this a spell ability?
Freeze works 30 feet away, and I can freeze a 20-foot square. So theoretically, I can catch him in that cube, correct?
Theoretically, what's the action on that?
All right. Instantaneous requires at least 5 cubic feet of water. Got that. You can flash freeze the water in an area or a creature. You can freeze the top of an area of water or cover a wet creature with ice. Squares that are frozen will support creatures who take up less space than the affected area. Creatures must succeed on a dex throw or be restrained. On a failure, the target takes 1d4 cold damage. Restrained, blah, blah, blah. Strength saving throw to escape.
How long does it take to cast is what I'm asking.
Oh, instantaneous. Or an action.
That's the duration. Okay, so one action. So I would say handling an animal and giving it the when you have not bonded with it, like commanding your own animal companion would be a bonus action. At
That's
least
gonna be a full
it
action.
would take at least an action to get it to move.
Damn. I don't think I have any bonus crap I can pull off.
You have boots of water breathing. Oops.
I totally forgot, and then I was looking through my stuff to see if I had anything, and I was like,
We can say that you headed off that last use of the weed to Jareth or something.
sure.
So you
I'm not seeing any bonus stuff, so if that's my action, that's my action.
Okay.
Does he get to double move, or is that just...
Your action was to command him to move, so he wouldn't be using additional actions unless you also commanded him to use those, which would take more actions.
Okay.
All
right.
So that was Bran down to Yara, who just walked away. So Yara, aboard the key. It's your turn. What would you like to do?
I guess keep calling out where that stone is at as the chaos unfolds. So I see it still tracking on there, and it's just heading to the west.
Yep.
Can I tell depth?
You see that it is slightly rising, but continuing more or less on a direct course to the west. Yeah.
Okay. So I will just yell that out. I'll just say the stone is headed west, direct due west from the middle section of the ship, and it's rising, so they must be ascending in the water. That's probably all I have time to shout out.
Okay. Hero, you're up.
Okay. Can I use I think I have 15 feet of movement?
Okay.
Normally right halved?
Correct.
Underwater? Can I get to Rocky? I think so.
Floop, floop, floop. Yep.
What would it be an action to just put my hand on him and get a grip on just a rock? Just like.
I mean, yeah, you can hang on to him, sure.
I just don't want it. If it's an action or a bonus action, I'm not going to do it.
No, you can grab on, no problem.
That's just in case he decides to move away. I just want to stay with
Sure.
him. I'm going to go ahead and use my action to create a glow. I'll take out my immovable rod and I'll put it on that.
Okay.
Because I don't have anything else. And then I'm going to bonus action brighten the glow. It's at 11th level I can make it go 40 feet.
Okay.
Hang on, let me double check. Is it bright light? Okay.
Okay, that's a good distance.
I just want to, because I don't know what they're going to do, I just want to get their attention on me so that they don't chase anybody. So I'm just in the center of everything and I'm just holding this really bright fucking thing high in the air. And that's it.
Nice. Okay.
I imagine they probably have dark vision, so.
Okay. All right. So you fly in, or swim in, literally. You turn your rod on full blast, brightening all the area out to 40 feet, and you hold on to Rocky for dear life. Excellent.
Yep.
That brings us down to Rocky. What are you doing?
Okay, how far away is the priestess that's got the stone?
Let's see. She would be 60 feet away from this point. So from you, that's 65, 70, 75, 80, 85 feet-ish.
Jeez. There is nothing I can do. I guess I will double move as far as I can towards.
Okay.
I'll do a quick bow to the matriarch and say,
Clink, 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 clink.
It's over there, I think, and I'll go as far as I can.
Okay. Now, as a point of order, you are attached to a chain. If you want to go directly, you're going to go under the ship, which would cause the chain to drag. Or you can go around the ship if you choose.
Can I unhook from the chain?
They are locked in place with padlocks that would require.
Of course they are.
Disintegrate, punch it.
Gosh, this is not a good situation. I guess I'll go around the ship.
Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20. What's your movement?
30.
25, 30. You know what? I would say, given your weight and the fact that you're pushing off against actual ground, I would say you're at full speed. So go ahead and do a strength check, Hero, to stay clung to Rocky.
That's not good.
We'll call it athletics.
Can I assist by holding on to her as well? Just like
Sure, yeah. What's your strength bonus?
mine?
Yeah.
Plus 10.
Okay, so you get a plus 10 to your roll.
Okay, so that'll be a 23 with
Oof.
plus 1.
What actual number did you roll?
12.
Okay, so math. So you, under normal circumstances, it would be a little bit difficult for somebody with meager fingers to hang on to this huge Rocky personage. But Rocky reaches behind him, grabs onto your wrist, and starts dragging you through the water at full speed. You feel the water just like slamming you in the face as you get dragged along, and you're just like waving behind him in his wake like somebody getting keel hauled.
Sure.
So yeah, you come along.
Nice.
I guess I could have totally stuck the immovable rod on you and have been fine, but
yeah. Okay, just a query for next time. Could I like throw her on my next move?
Through the water?
Or propel her?
I mean, you could make an athletics check and see how far it goes. Sure.
Okay, that would have to be for my next turn. So
right, yeah. I'll say this though, like she's not terribly like aerodynamic, and so don't expect it to be terribly effective.
Yeah, it's the horns, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is.
that and the voluminous clothing, Okay, so that brings us down to the bottom of the round. The sirens all respond. The matriarch shouts out an order, and those who speak some version of primordial are able to recognize that she's basically saying capture. And you notice that this individual immediately moves to the priestess here. This individual moves over to the priestess here. Actually, the sea serpents stay where they are. The individuals, though, move over and basically hedge in the other two. This one hopped onto his sea serpent steed and then raises a hand into the air and then utters this word that Bran would recognize because he speaks Druidic. He is calling for the help of his friends. And I get by with a little help from my friends. And crawling out from underneath the ship, you see a pair of enormous crabs coming up, like crawling up the side of the ship and sort of scuttling on top of the sea serpent's like tail, like clutching it. And then finally, she will do a thing. I even have stats for her. She will cast. She will move first. Yes, she will move 30 feet. That will be appropriate. Yeah. So, yep, she can do that. She mounts her sea serpent and then she moves off the map this direction. And she's moving quick enough, Ronnie, that she sort of leaves you in her wake with this huge sort of like swirl of water around you. And as she goes, she reaches out in front of her and she speaks Aquan and commands the sea to swirl in front of her. And the effect is that How far is that? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So basically, it's as if a tidal wave had just moved, but completely underwater. So there's no like a lot of like sea foam and stuff gets generated by the sheer force, which is the only reason you're able to actually see the effect. But this huge mass of water just gets shoved from the west, moving toward the east, toward the ship that you guys are currently at. And the escapee is going to make their saving throw. They're going to take damage from the bludgeoning of the water. 2, 3, 4. Oof. Yep. So takes 18 points of bludgeoning damage as this underwater tidal wave sort of rips through their space. And then they are like swirled in the water so that they kind of get, what's the word? Like disoriented, and they don't really know which direction is up. And so they are now considered prone, even though they're still underwater and floating. Ha ha ha. Yep, that's what happens. And then at the bottom of the round, Hero, you would notice that at the far edge of the light that you are casting, you begin to see that light begin to like collapse into normal conditions. Like it's as if the light that your rod is shedding is being canceled out.
Now, I do have the darkness sphere, so that would I be able to tell that it's like a competing? Because whenever dark and light energies combine, there's always saves against it. So would I recognize that as being a darkness thing?
So I'll say that it's easy for you to identify that it's a darkness thing because past that area of overlapping sort of cancellation of light, you see that there is an ever-increasing bloom of darkness emanating from this now prone, floating siren person. And so it, like this inky cloud, it just seeps its way into the water surrounding all of you, and it begins to fight at the edges of the sphere of light that you are casting. Because it's not fiendish in nature, you don't recognize it as being fiendish, but you do recognize it as a magical darkness effect, yes.
Gotcha.
And this is where I will need to actually look at how the light sphere and the dark spheres interact.
I kind of have it open. Let me pan back down to the light.
So it says, if a light sphere is created inside your darkness effect, the creator of the light sphere effect must succeed on a spellcasting ability check. I think the reverse is true for the life sphere. Or sorry, the light sphere.
Probably.
Glow. Whenever a glow effect interacts with a magical darkness, such as from the dark sphere, the caster of the glow effect must succeed on a spellcasting ability check against the sphere or spell save DC of the darkness effect's caster. If they succeed, the darkness is countered and the light effect functions normally. If they fail, the glow effect is countered and the dark effect functions normally. Okay.
So I need to make a save.
So you'll need to make a spellcaster save. So that would be...
I have not been rolling good, gents.
Spellcast ability check. Okay, so you're making a d20 plus your spellcasting ability.
Plus... Right.
Plus proficiency, I would assume.
Okay, so for me it'd be wisdom plus proficiency.
There you go.
15. I
Okay.
used my inspiration tonight, so.
Oof. Okay. You watch as the darkness emanating from this priestess begins to eat away and grind at the brightness that you're casting, and so you can see the tendrils kind of like penetrating into your light, looking for weaknesses and attempting to dismantle it from the inside. It only gets so far, though. It gets about 10 feet into the effect that you're currently casting. So this direction, your brightness is shortened by about 10 feet. So it only goes out about 30 feet. Okay. Immediately following that, all of you suddenly feel this enormous change in pressure. Suddenly from the west, you feel the water being pushed in a much heavier movement than the tidal wave that this individual summoned with their magic. As you feel yourselves being sort of simultaneously put back and then sort of allowed to sort of reposition back in your location, you can feel the movement of enormous somethings sort of moving through the water, coming toward you from the west. And through and around the darkness, you see one enormous 15-foot thick tentacle slap itself down across this area of the silt and throws up this cloud. You see another one slap itself down on this side right next to you, Rocky. You see a third slapping itself down on top of the ship. And as you watch, Yara, from your vantage point, you see outlined in perfect resolution because it is so huge, the shape of an enormous underwater squid. That, and as you watch, the teeth of this thing manifest themselves like a flower and swallow the priestess whole, after which you see the boop, 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 boop label on the dark stone flicker out.
Okay, I go.
After a couple of moments, you see that label reappear, and the color of that kraken changes to reflect the color of the dark sphere itself. Fuck. And then it gains the label that was once on this dark stone.
I'm afraid I have some bad news.
And that's where we're going to call a game tonight, guys. Thank you so much.
Question, wait. So wait, that was the dark stone, not the weatherstone?
That was the dark stone.
Oh, fuck.
And now it's a giant dark kraken.
It's fine. I was built for this.
Really,
jumping in the teeth.
You were built for fighting a kraken.
No, I was built for fighting the dark sphere.
Okay.
You don't have a stone yet, and Jay was like, "You can get one, but you're gonna earn it." It's
the one that will make me more evil.
What were you saying, Charles?
I was saying just jump right into them teeth and get it out. Go after that thing.
Let's do this. Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys will have a fun time next time.
Yara, you want to come down with us?
I'm good up here. I will be firing spire shot support. I think so.
That's good.
Yeah.
You have literally a ship-sized target to fight with.
It's gonna be like 20,000 leagues under the sea or whatever.
Either that or Yara is just gonna be like, you know what? I'm out.
So just to
you guys, bye.
Just to leave you on the poetry of the prophecy that led you here. Beneath the sea storm underdeck, betrayal comes from out the wreck. The traitor calls the grasping beast upon the stone and traitor feast.
It all came true.
Have fun! Yay. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for
Thank you, Jay.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.